Girls, back again. Excuse me for a second. Sore throat. Going to be doing a bit of waffling. So anyway, what I want to talk to you today is about amps, burners, kickers for CB radio. We all love more power. Power mad we are. But before we buy one of these, what you want to, especially if you're mobile, what you want to double check is check your SWRs okay. Check all your connections if you're not getting out very well. Just check your basics, and then progress on to one of these. But when you buy one of these, you've got to make sure before you use them the SWR is below 1.5. Make sure you're not putting more wattage into this than it can handle. This is up to 10 watts input. So if you've got a straight 40 rig doing about 4 whiskies, happy days. But if you've got a sidebander that can do over 10 watts, you've got to be careful because you can soon blow them, which is, we don't want to do that, do we, obviously. Now ideally you should wire these straight to your car battery or through the fuse box, but the trouble is with these modern vehicles nowadays, you can't get to the battery or even to the fuse box. Is hard to get hold of. So I wouldn't buy any of the big amps. I'd just get something like a KL203. This allegedly does 100 watts FM, 200 watts sideband. Yeah, it will if you max it out, if you put the 10 watts in, but it ain't going to last long. It's only the cheap as in parts, not cheap as in to buy. This new, about £55 from Knight's CB Radio Communications, decent CB shop. Knight spelt with a K. Loads of amplifiers, loads of CB bits. Google them; they will help you. Fantastic guys. Don't be embarrassed if you don't understand anything. Just ask them straight, and they don't talk down to you. Brilliant guys. Anyway, I'm digressing. Amps in the car. I use this in my car. I use it with a Midland, little tiny old-fashioned Midland CB radio. This has been tweaked. It does about 6 watts. So 6 watts into this gives me about 60 watts out. I don't go straight to the battery. I don't go through the fuse box. I use the cigar lighter sockets. Woo! Alarm bells. You're thinking, yeah, you can't. I'm supposed to use them. They just haven't got the power, the ampage. They have. You can use up to you can draw up to 10 amps out of the cigar lighter sockets. If I put 6 watts in this, get 60 watts out, I'm drawing about just over 9 amps. So your little adapter there that goes in, yeah, seen one of them. They do get hot, they do get warm, but as long as you're not doing too much waffling, you're all right. But what I do, I use a separate one for the linear, one for the CB, because on these modern cars you've normally got 2 or 3 cigar lighter sockets, haven't you? So happy days. What I've done with this, it's a little electric fan, computer fan. Put it on. This has been done quite professionally, really, with 1 or 2 bolts to bolt it down. I've used in the past on the big boots, on this Zitagi here. I bought this little fan. I got 2 or 3 from the rallies. You put them on top, get some ties on, some plastic ties. Looks a bit dossy, but it keeps them nice and cool, and it keeps this little baby, happy. It's not getting too hot and flustered. So back to basics. If you're using a linear, make sure your SWR is below 1.5. Double check how much power you're putting into it. Make sure you're not putting too many watts in it, else it's going to go pop. Make sure all your connections on your mag mounts, your gutter mounts, make sure everything's hunky-dory. If you're going to be using one of the big boys at home, don't forget, they are illegal, boys. You're not supposed to use them. You will get your hand slapped if you get caught. You will get your equipment taken off you, and you might even get a fine. But if you're going to be using one of the big boys at home, you need to have a big power supply. I use at least a 40 amp power pack. This draws about 33 amps, I think, full whack. I never use this to its maximum. I never max them out. I try and look after them. This allegedly will do. What will this do? on FM. I think it's supposed to do 300 watts on FM. Woo! Big boys boots. Or about 600 sideband. I normally put about 7 whiskies into it, and I get about 200, 220, 230 out, and it's quite happy with the fans on top, keeping nice and cool. 40 amp power pack. You're not overdrawing it. The only thing is, depending on what radio you're using with these things, because that is up to a 10 watt input. The KL503 is only a 6 watt input, so you've got to be careful. You start putting more than 6 watts in this, and it ain't going to last 2 seconds. Poof, it's gone, knackered. So CB radios, what you're going to use to power these things. This one's ideal. It's a TriStar 848, and the power switch, the power selector, is a 3-position, high, mid and low. I think on high it does 12 whiskies, mid does about 7, and low does about 3. So I have it on mid on this one. It's a bit like the old NATO 2000. Lovely bit of kit there. Or if you want to start the modern stuff, we've got a CRT SS 9900. Nice bit of kit. These do about 35-40 whiskies out of the back end. So really, you don't really need a linear, but it's human nature. We all want more. We all want more, don't we? Bigger and better. The thing is with these, it's a variable power switch on this. You can be going up to 1, 2, 3, 4. Once it gets to about 7 whiskies, you only have to touch a flea's leg, and it goes up to about 20 whiskies within a flea's leg. Just you only have to look at it. Boom. So your linear is not going to take it, because you're not supposed to put more than 10 watts in, and that'll go up to 20 whiskies with a flea's leg, and you know it's popped. This 550p cost me brand new, delivered, £282. Don't tell the missus, she doesn't know. If she knew how much that cost, Jesus. So the last thing you want to be doing is putting more power in than you should do, because it's a waste of money. So back to basics. Make sure your SWR is below 1.5. Make sure you're not putting more power into the linear than it can handle. Make sure your connections are right. And if you're in a car, ideally straight to the battery, to the fuse box. But if not, just have a small linear, a KL203. You can get smaller ones, KL35s or something, but the 203 is just a nice size. Plus, if you're only putting 6 or 7 whiskies in, you're not overdriving it. You're getting 70 watts, 60, 70 watts out of it, mobile. Put it through your cigar lighter socket. Happy days, everybody's happy. Dead easy to take out at night, not a problem. I think that's it, boys. The basics, really. I hope I've helped you out. The technical side of it, I don't really want to go into, not because I want to bore you, because I don't understand it, but I just know the basics. So I hope that's helped you. And also, don't forget, if you're ever in the Cheshire and Staffordshire area, I'm normally on 25 UK FM. The handle is Mike, Mr. Moonraker, 26 Charlie Tango 1284. Normally on 25, waffling. If you're in the Cheshire and Staffordshire area, come on 25 and say hello. Hope I've been a help. Bye bye, boys. Catch you soon. 73.